All right, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to the SoulCast. So we are on the final episode. I am your host, of course, Scott, aka Zhang on the boards. So I want to first start off, by thanking everybody for listening to this, this podcast series and hanging with it. And yeah, this is the last character, so we are going to get them all done. And I don't have any plans on continuing with anything after this. At least not until the next actual full fighting game caliber comes out. Not this Lost Swords bullshit. But so yeah, until that happens, I don't really plan on anything. If something comes up, I'll certainly look into it. But don't I don't want anybody to be surprised if you don't see any caliber videos come out from me for a while yet. But with that being said, again, thank you for hanging with it and being a fan of the podcast, and of course, thank you to all of my guests up to this point. For making this enjoyable for all the ones, everyone listening and trying to learn the game. So with that, we'll move on to this actual episode, which is, of course, we're doing Alpha Patroklos, the very last character we have not even really talked about it all yet. So for that, my guest is well known, has actually been on the podcast series before, and that is, of course, Lost Providence. What's going on, dude?
Hey.
So you've, like I said, you've already been on the podcast before, so I don't think we really need to do much of a background. But it's interesting, to have you on for this character. Just for those who are interested, I did reach out to Woes, but he's, for those who know him, he's going through medical school right now. He's got a crazy busy schedule, so I'm not too surprised they couldn't find time. But a lot of people know you for your viola, but the last time that I checked, like tournament results for you had won a tournament with Alpha Patroklos, and a lot of people know how dangerous you are with this character as well. So I want to start out by asking, is it like a true 50-50 split now, or is he just a character that you like to mess with on occasion, or how is your relationship with this character? Like how often do you use him?
Well, I don't even know. I use them. I don't.
Is it like a
Uh,
matchup thing? Like you only pull him out when you need him, or like how does that work?
no, I just use them when I feel like it. Honestly.
You're like, hold on, let me swag on you real quick. Funny. So is it something where you plan on playing him in tournaments in the future? Like, let's say for instance, like Evo were to have Caliber again, would you play Alpha in that, or would you stick to Viola?
Well, somebody want me to play them. I really don't mind.
So you're gonna take requests?
Yeah,
You just don't even care. You're like, whatever.
pretty much.
Okay, so
Yeah.
let me ask the next logical question. Why do you play him? Like what's appealing about him? Just the difficulty, or how does that work?
Uh, it's pretty much. I played Setska and Soul Calibur 4 in tournaments. I played in 3 too, but I didn't enter any tournaments in 3.
Mm. Now, just kind of a question out of curiosity. Can you play every character like comparably? Can you take any tournament, or sorry, character to a tournament and have a reasonable chance of winning?
I wouldn't say every character, but I would say a good amount of them.
Okay,
uh,
interesting,
like
interesting.
my, I don't expect to win anything with my. Let me look at this list. My max beat. But I play a good amount of the cast, so yeah.
Gotcha. Now, how often do you play Alpha? Is he like a character you find enjoyable to play, or you just play him just cause?
Uh, I play like I play them a lot more offline than I do like online. I recently was playing them online, but it's kind of annoying. A lot of stuff you got to deal with online. But it's the same way with Viola, so I
Mm.
guess. But
Now,
like offline,
mm,
Hawkeye and I'll play like maybe we'll have sessions for 100 games at a time, and I just like maybe I feel like playing him or Piero or Viola or something that day, and I just pick them.
Gotcha. Now you say that he's annoying to play online. Is it lag that's mostly what makes it annoying, or are you talking about like strategies that people throw at you?
It's actually both of them
Oh,
because like you gotta like adjust the timing,
mhm,
especially a lot of stuff I do. Like I like to do delayed wave dash attacks,
mhm.
so you gotta adjust the timing with every different connection and like the way people play. They try to play like almost like on a flow chart,
Mm,
and just when you lose frames, a lot of stuff they do work. Like offline, it feels more difficult to move against him, but online it's like, he's pretty easy or whatever.
gotcha. All right, well let's get into the actual, nuts and bolts of this character. So he's well known for being, a high execution character.
He's
So
pretty good.
yeah, and he's pretty good. Yeah. So I sort of time this episode as being the last since aside from Pyrrha, he's considered one of those characters in the running for best in the game. So let's start there. Do you think he's the best character in the game, or do you think there's someone better?
Um, that's a hard question because of matchups. I would say, I think it depends on your outlook of who the best character in the game. What makes the best character in the game?
Hmm.
Because I think it's thrown around a lot, the idea without people generally understanding even what they want. So I think a couple characters could be in the running for it, and he's definitely one of them.
Hmm.
But my personal opinion on best, I think probably I could, depending on matchups. If you take matchups into account, it's harder. Because if you take matchups into account, I put Pyrrha up there, but otherwise, I say him and Viola are.
Gotcha. Now, a lot of people, or a lot of entry level players, are very intimidated. But like they think he's cool, but once they see him played at a high level, it becomes really intimidating because of that high execution. Now, you're obviously a top level player, and prior to maybe recent events, a lot of people knew you for a different character, and I don't know if I would say that Viola is a super high execution character. So with that being said, like what do you do to kind of like where is your emphasis when you're practicing this character? Like, are you doing the high damage stuff, or do you take like an easier route?
That's that's actually a pretty good question too to me because like I'm always for people just playing casually and
Mhm.
enjoying themselves. So when I play, I'm trying to enjoy myself, and with that, you don't take things so seriously.
Mhm.
So you would go for like the high damage or the stylish stuff, but like you tend to find like players who do try to, get serious and grind it like come maybe they enter a tournament, then they don't want to go for that stuff because they're not comfortable doing it because
Mhm.
it's inconsistent to them at that point. But if you like practice it, just like it's a thing you do, it becomes normal and you don't feel so pressured.
Mhm.
So shit.
So, well, it sounds like then for you, whenever you play him, even in tournaments, you're kind of you have like a loose, feeling about it. You're not taking it incredibly seriously. Now, for those, is it as simple as just calming yourself down and not taking it so seriously?
Hello?
Hey, still there?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. It sounds like you cut out a little bit there. But so what I was asking, for you, it sounds like when you play him, even in tournaments, you have a very loose feeling when you play him.
Yeah.
So for those who do, take that stuff very seriously and maybe they get a little bit nervous, is it really as simple as just finding a way to calm yourself down to make that stuff more consistent? Or is there something that you think people could practice to
I
make it
think
easy.
it's really a bit of both. Maxo, French Setskin, he played, I believe he played Alpha Pat for a while in
Mhm.
Soul Calibur 5. Like, it was either him or Doc Vizo, a German Setska player. That one of them was like, that's Alpha. They said Setska. Setska's not a character you can really be nervous with and play effectively, and I agree with that.
Mhm.
So, like, honestly, I would say like nerves are really a big factor in it because then you don't you're not comfortable doing what you should be able to do. But practice, like I said, I practice a different way, but I guess practice is pretty important too. But like once you practice so much, I mean it's gonna be muscle memory and it's not really a matter I need to practice that so much as I need to be able to do that in certain situations, which is why I think the becoming calm is more important. Like when I won NEC versus Partisan and used them, like the only Just Frame I haven't played Alpha Patroklos and I don't even know how long. I just picked them just cause and like at one point in the set, I threw out one BB, and that's like a one frame link, and I hit it. I don't even know why I threw it out. I mean, he blocked it, but I thought about it afterwards, like, what the hell was I even doing right there?
Gotcha. So you've it sounds like when you play him, when you pick him, it's very much just kind of an on the fly moment. You're just doing it to do it, and like your play style, the way you just mentioned, one BB just because why not, and you manage to hit it. So let's talk a little bit about those just frames because obviously that's the biggest hurdle that people find who want to play Alpha Patroklos. Now you mentioned muscle memory, but his combos, like his juggles, I God, it feels like it's even more than muscle memory to get that stuff down. And I know that's the number one thing that people would love advice on. So when you hit practice mode, like back when you did practice his juggles,
Yeah.
like was it just a grind, like you just did it over and over and over again, or was there anything specific that you were doing to help you?
I think I got a pretty good sense of rhythm, so I guess I would like listen to the sound, and after a while, listening to the sound, you get used to doing it without the sound.
Hmm.
So I guess that was like my biggest like practice tool, and then just practice the combos. I spent a good amount of time in Afghanistan with Broken Swords, the PSP Soul Calibur 4 game, and
Hmm.
I would just play the computer, so that was even more practice.
Wow.
So,
So you just had a ton of time that you were just throwing out for this stuff, huh?
yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So, well, that's still, I think that's still good for, newer players to understand is that there's no real quick fix. I mean, you're going to have to put in your time and you're going to have to grind, the timing and the rhythm, as you put it, for these moves down. So I guess since there's really no trick to the juggles, you just have to put in your time. We can move past that. So I do want to.
Um,
Oh, go ahead.
actually, the way I would do it, like Soul Calibur 3
Hmm.
and Soul Calibur 4, like I practice them certain ways to like one AAA, the low, mid, high.
Hmm.
I remember Nightmare, he stands a certain way. So like you could time it to when the sword would hit his front leg and like just visual cues, audio cues, I don't know, whatever else I guess. But I'm sorry for interrupting.
Oh no, I was actually just gonna continue on from the just frame. So that's any advice that you can can throw out. I'm sure people will appreciate. So no problem at all.
I as he also has the fastest input ones, that AGB and Twister. Hmm. Those are pretty much same thing, just a matter of practice, and like you can't be pressing another button while you doing pressing one button. So uh, But I guess it's just a matter of practice and being comfortable doing it in an actual match.
Gotcha. Interesting. All right, so I will start my next series of questions by putting full disclosure out there and saying that outside of his juggles and all of those just frames, I know very, very little about this character. So when you're playing, like, whenever I see people playing, I know Twister. Twister's punishable, so it's not something that people just throw out randomly. It's usually like a Punisher or something. But the only moves that I ever see people use just constantly is 3-3B, or 8-way run B, however you want to say it, and 6-6B.
Yeah.
And aside from that, that's the end of my knowledge. So when you start, now you mentioned matchups earlier. So when you start to play this character, like, what sorts of things? What's the best way to ask this? I guess the first question would be, like, what does he struggle with, and what does he do really well against? Like, what sorts of characters?
He actually struggles against like faster like, I wouldn't say he struggles so much as you gotta guess more or become more defensive against like the faster characters, because a lot of his pokes aren't really too fast. That's why his best pokes are like full crouch 2K and 2-way.
Mm-hmm.
So like he struggles against frame traps and fast attacks because he's pretty linear too. Like 6-6B catches to one side and 3-3B catches to another, but even then those both can be stepped even sometimes to their strong sides,
Mm-hmm.
depending on when you step them. He does have stuff to make up for that, but still. So I would say I wouldn't even say the matchups aren't in his favor so much as he struggles more than he does against other characters, like even versus like Hiro or Natsu, just because he has the tools he does, is like still even matchups.
Mm-hmm.
And really, other than that, I think those are probably the only characters that. I mean, let me look at this list.
No, I understand.
I think he pretty much. I think he pretty much beat everybody. Honestly, I mean, Aeon is decent against him, but even Aeon has his problems. So it's like, I think he pretty much. Well, oh yeah, Tira. Tira is pretty good against him.
All right. Well, let's rather than we can always come back to the stuff that he's bad against, but it sounds like for the most part, being a top tier character, you're going to be pretty good against most things. So with that being said, like, where do you start? Like, when you're starting up a match, what are you focusing on? Like,
oh, I'm sorry. Did you want me to talk about what he's good at doing?
Oh, we could do either or. I figure it sounds like he does more good than he does bad. So it might be easier to start the conversation with what he does good. And obviously his juggle damage, we already know that that's high, so we can sort of gloss over that. But just as like a general play style, when you start a match, like, what are you looking to do? Like, are you just like an ultra pitbull, or how do you work that?
Well, the thing is, with a character like him, honestly, I feel like he's pretty much in the same boat as Pyrrha, where like they just have the bare necessities of what you need to be effective in Soul Calibur. But like right off the bat, because of stuff like punishment, range, pokes, and whatnot, he limits the things your opponent. He doesn't limit them in a realistic sense, but against a smart player, he limits what they can do, unless either they're not gonna do it or they're not gonna do it so much.
Mm-hmm.
So right off the bat, you're taking away the ability to like backstep when they won, or you taking away their ability to use certain moves.
Mm.
And with that, I really try to play the players so much. So I mean, I can go into matchups because I do know matchups too. But
Sure, yeah. If that's easier for you, by all
no,
means.
I can. But like, really, he excels at being safe, and like he has really good range, and like 2A and full crouch 1K are pretty much amazing pokes. I mean, they can be jump attack, but
Mm-hmm.
even then, because he has a good back step, side step, and wolf punish game, you can't just throw out jump attacks all willy nilly. And then I forgot, he just guard makes him even better because, like, with the space and the stepping,
Mm-hmm.
like most of the time you put your opponent in position to, either try to throw out something now catch a lot of options like a Pira 6-6A or 4-4A or something,
Mm-hmm.
or to use like a fast poke. And either way, like say one just guard off of those is almost 80 damage because of Twister punish is like even a lot of characters BBs or AAs on just guard. So I pretty much try to limit. I play pretty lame, so,
Okay,
I,
so when you say lame, do you mean that you're just kind of moving around and waiting for them to fuck up?
I try to force people to mess up, but I don't like unless like it seems advantageous to me. I don't really try to take so many like huge risks. Even when I'm taking supposed risks, most of the time it's pretty safe, and like the only way you're gonna get damaged is if you're taking the risk. I'm not so much taking the risk, and like I remove myself from a lot of risky situations.
Mm.
Like I don't even deal with them half the time, and usually you'll notice like in those situations if you just like more patient about them, like because of the way he plays, you get damage off stuff like that even. So
So give us an example of what you mean by what you just avoid a situation entirely.
like say okay, like let's say either like I'm thinking a situation where like a frame trap situation. Let's say like it's easy to use Pyrrha because she's so basic. So
Yeah.
let's say Pyrrha, like you block AA or something. It's pretty good on blocking. Her AA is stupid fast. Like instead of even dealing with all that, like, or matter of fact, Pyrrha 1K. That's a good thing people like to resort to.
Mm.
Like let's say you block it, and instead of dealing with that, just like maybe I choose to just back out of the situation. Like, man, she's gonna press. It's not really an advantage, but because of how fast she is, it's a technical advantage, I guess. I just back off, and if she does choose to like frame trap where I should have frames or AGI or something, then I get to punish basically free damage on that type of stuff. Or maybe I just block. I mean, maybe every now and then I like press the frames or something. But even then, you put into that person's head a situation where if they want more damage, they have to take a risk. Like she's not gonna hit me while I'm backstepping with blah blah blah.
Mhm.
So maybe she does like a 3B or 6B plus K to catch the backstep. But by that time, you already implanted in their head that they got overextend themselves. So maybe I just then I can like play the frame game easier, or then I can like just guard to beat all of that and double twister punish. So she doesn't want to do that so much.
Mhm.
Mm. but but then you got the problem when they play passive too. But the thing is, I'm pretty comfortable with people playing passively or patiently.
Mhm.
So, because I guess I'm pretty patient myself. So it's like, well, they aren't getting any more damage, so who cares?
Gotcha. So you prefer the chess match rather than just pressing buttons.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like when I'm playing, it looks like maybe I'm doing pressing a lot of buttons, but it's a decent amount of either thought or like, well, if I do this, what's my opponent thinking? Blah blah blah. How they feeling about what I'm doing? And so you might see like it might seem like a like stupid good read or something, and sometimes it is, but most of the time it's like just logical or like maybe emotional.
Gotcha.
Like one of the uh people in Soul Calibur community, Mei Lin, she doesn't play the game. And what she said, it was pretty insightful. She said that when she watches, it seems like I'm more patient than most people, and so it pisses them off and it makes them fuck up. Because I also play safe as shit, so they're like, oh, so it's not really too many chances where unless you actually mixing me up or making me guess that you're just gonna get free damage. Like even when I lose half the time, it's like, well, I didn't have to do that. I pretty much could just stop doing that, and then how are you gonna get your damage? So,
Interesting.
but this isn't about me. This is about Alphabet.
Yeah. Indeed. So I do have some questions about that punishing that you were talking about. Since uh, he's so good at playing that patient game, or at least even if you're not looking at patience, but he's so good at capitalizing on whiffs and block punishment. Now you mentioned the twister, and I think most people know that two twisters in a row is painful, especially considering how fast that move is. Now the aside from just the generic stuff like 3B AA, which I don't even really know honestly how fast Twister is, so maybe that's roughly the
Twister.
same.
Well, just rain Twister. Regular Twister's 13.
Gotcha. So I mean that sounds like that's probably going to be the fastest move that he's going to use. And but when it comes to other types of punishes like whiff punishment, and you mentioned just guard, like what other types of moves are you using to punish? Like is 6xb fast enough for you to react to a whiff, or do you not even worry about that? You're just twistering all over the place.
In most cases, like I'd rather use 3-3B just because it's like 2 frames faster. But I mean, you can whiff punish with pretty much either one of them. Like I like to look at which side they're on, or maybe it's a wall or something. Whiff punish with that. So you can whiff punish with either one of them because they have a shit ton of range, and he steps forward when he does them. So it's kind of silly.
Now, for you personally, when you see somebody whiff something, is the first thought in your mind is let me do a 3-3B, or do you fall back on the twister more often?
Well, the thing is, like, it depends on the attack because, like, say, depending on when you're causing the whiff,
Hmm.
like maybe a two-way or something, it 3-3B in a lot of cases won't be fast enough to whiff
Hmm.
punish, like on reaction, but you can whiff punish with Twister on reaction. So it really depends, I guess.
Gotcha. Now, when you do
Or
Twister,
I'm
I'm
sorry.
just curious about this for my for my own knowledge. When I used to mess with them a little bit, practicing the juggles was like at the top of the list, and those are a pain in the ass. But like trying to do Twister as fast as possible is a high priority. Do you usually do the quarter circle back method to do it, or do you use like because I know that you can just go into crouch with 2G. Do you do it that way, or which way
Oh,
is
you
better?
gotta do the quarter circle
Okay,
back.
okay. I didn't know because like it's I man, I wish I was more knowledgeable about the frames on this stuff. But you figure,
No.
2G it immediately puts you in a crouch, whereas you have to do I
The
don't
thing is, you can buffer the stance.
okay.
So you can't buffer 2G really.
Okay, that makes sense. Interesting. Okay, so you're always doing that method then. You're never actually going into crouch. Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know for me. All right. Anyway, sorry. Continue.
No, you're the host.
Well, okay. So we've talked about Twister, and then we've talked about 3-3-B.
We should talk about 2A. That's
2A.
the best move.
Okay, his
2A.
his best move. Okay,
Best
explain
move.
yourself. Explain yourself. How's 2A his best move?
Maybe I'm a little bit biased because, like, in Soul Calibur 4, Seska had, like, to me, the best 2A in the game, and that was my move. So when Soul Calibur 5 came out, I thought it was pretty funny that they actually nerfed his 2A from hers. Hers was, like, silly. But they gave him a 2A Brave Edge. I was like, what the hell is this? But 2A is like, it's because like he's pretty linear. He's like linear in the Mitsurugi sense where maybe something catches to one side and then something catches to the other side. But 2A is multi-purpose because it's fast, it's tech crouch, it got a good amount of range. It actually hits people like it doesn't seem like it has a lot of range, but if say somebody's attacking and you throw it out
Mhm.
and it's faster, it actually hit them out of the attack. And it's +8 on hit, which is amazing, period. And then on block, it actually spaces a good amount. So that sets up the whole step just guard or do some silly shit thing I was talking about earlier.
Interesting. Okay, so like walk us through those situations. Like let's say that you've just hit a 2A. Well,
Yeah,
what are you thinking about? Because you just said that you like to kind of avoid those situations that maybe somebody can take advantage of. So do you usually just sit there and walk away and let them
fuck
think about the
no.
way? Okay,
I'm at +8.
all right. So explain like
like,
what you're going
like
for.
at that range, like, cause he has stupid good damage mids. I mean, you could recover and do 1 BB for like 110 damage if you hit it. You could recover and mix up with 1 AAA. You could wave dash and do his command throw into double just frame twister, and that's 110 damage. And the mids are all safe. So it's like, I mean, pretty much. And I mean, it's not like 6-6B and 2-3-6-3B or 3-3B, whatever you want to do. They have pretty much the same speed, but the other ones either hit different levels or don't have the same speed so much. So it's like they can, if they go for a just guard, you can. That's when you can start hitting like one AAA the throws. Could get up do the 1 BB shit. You could wave dash and still move. So you put them in a situation where they pretty much they have to guess, or and if they guess wrong, counter hit 3-3B is like 100 and something damage too.
Gotcha. So you roll 2A as like your entire foundation for your offense.
Yeah, 2A is my shit.
Gotcha. Now now
And yeah, of course, like 2A goes into CE too.
interesting. So you do you have the same mentality when it's on block, or how do you alter that?
Yeah, when it's on block, because like I said, it spaces so well. Then like I like what I like to do, because most players either they're gonna chase you or they're gonna run away or they're gonna throw out something fast. So usually it depends on how I'm reading into the player.
Mhm.
But like 2A, and then I like on defense, I like to switch it up between I don't really attack so much after block 2A, I noticed, but you can step. Like, I usually back step or just guard and then step forward. So if they throw out something fast, then I'm gonna just guard and twister. And if they don't throw anything out at all, I got enough of a reaction to see that, and then I go for something else, maybe another 2A, or if I see them being overly passive, I even mix them up while they at plus range. So that's just uh,
Interesting. So, is there anything other than 2A that you use, or you just 2A and like that's your
I
whole
mean,
thing?
like 2A is pretty much like what I build up my stuff off
Mhm.
of. So I mean, of course, you gotta use like 3-3B and 6-6B full crouch 2K because it has stupid tech crouch frames and stupid range on it, and it's a low. And then it has some more 2A shenanigans. And then like 4K, that's another option to do after like 2A on hit because it catch the step to either side most of the time, and it's a mid. I mean, it's only like +2 on hit, but it spaces a good amount, so they're not gonna really interrupt you with anything if you choose to like do 2-3-6 3B or 6-6B.
Interesting.
But like really, my game is I don't focus on like I don't know. I move around a lot and block. And so like my repertoire of attacks might not be silly, but like it's how I'm using the attacks, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean everything that you've said so far like fits into that because I mean, it sounds like you're just using a small number of moves, but you're using them to maximum effectiveness. And like, if 2A, like 2A, just based on all of his tools and Twister and then the full crouch 2K and all the other stuff that you mentioned, like everything comes out of this one move. So yeah, why wouldn't you use it a lot? Um, but I there's obviously going to be people who want to be able to use every single move
Yeah.
that a character has. Now it doesn't sound like you said that you're that kind of player, which is perfectly fine. I mean, I think that's obviously you can win with that strategy. So I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I guess my only question in regards to that would be, sort of like you mentioned that you know a lot of the the matchups and stuff. So I guess we can kind of delve into that a little bit more. Because it's most of the stuff that we've talked about, unless you can think of anything else, most of the stuff it would be like very situational as far as like usage is concerned.
Yeah.
Since you use just a few moves to run the majority of your game. So if you want to, since you had mentioned it earlier anyway, if you wanted to go into,
Hello?
hi, still there? Maybe.
Yeah.
You're still there? Okay.
Yeah.
So since you mentioned it earlier, if you, I guess if you wanted to go into a few of the matchups, maybe like a few of the more, few of the characters that you would run into most often might help some people, kind of get a grip on how they might go about running their game. So, I'm guessing since you play Hawkeye most often, you're probably playing against Natsu a
Yeah.
lot. So let's
No.
let's start with that matchup. Like what, like walk us through a typical match or two if you were playing with Alpha.
The problem with that is because, of course, like you said, we play a lot, so
Uh,
we both know the way each other plays. So I might use other moves I don't use so much. Like I actually use, and I use it against Pyrrha too. I use his 3A a lot in that match. It's a tech crouch and mid horizontal, but it's pretty slow.
mhm.
But it tech crouches really well. So
No,
like
that's actually exactly what I'm looking for because that is kind of that's a goofy example, or that's a goofy move that you would find use for in a match. So that's perfect. Like, is there anything else that helps you out with that matchup? That
Um, you got like you can't really. I mean, of course he can play inside everybody's range, but she has fucking 2-2-A, and that shuts down like 90% of his move list. But oh yeah, I forgot to mention another move because like I was gonna say, I'm sorry. Most of his move list is either high or linear, but he also has for range and whatever the Ring of Fire A. Well, I'm not sure if that's what it's called in this game, but the 8A plus BA, that's really good. But in the match, honestly, because like if she sees you approaching, most of the time she can just mix you up on defense with a 2-2-A, or like I said, I like the 2A a lot. She has 8A. I mean, she has A plus B, which is the tech. I mean, tech jump in mid horizontal. And that shuts down a lot of your mix up stuff, like those two moves alone, because you can't really, unless you time it right, you got like throw A plus B at the beginning of the attack, and you can throw like or a 2A like 2-2-A, but then she has, like I said, A plus B to shut down those options. So I like to honestly try to space Natsu out more than I try to just attack her because she's fast and she has stupid defensive stuff. But a lot of her best stuff too, though, is punishable. And like he gets past Twister, gets past like a shit ton of her what would it be called? The Possession Brave Edge,
Mhm.
like the invincible one. It gets past a lot of them because Twister, you can just throw it out most of the time, and it's either gonna beat the attack clean,
Mhm.
or it's gonna make. I mean, if she chooses to what the fuck teleport, it's just gonna whiff and put you out of range of the K follow up, the back turn possession K.
Uh-huh.
And most of the time, if she chooses to attack, unless it's like certain situations where she can possession K, Twister's gonna beat all the attacks she can do. And then, like, if she does choose to do like possession back turn K after Twister whiff, you get like a free back turn B plus K B just frame into whatever combo you want to do. So Twister helps. The only problem is though, like she has an other annoying shit like what's it called 2-2-B, because Alpha Pack can't punish that unless it's with CE or just frame Twister.
Interesting. Now, do you find yourself risking, like, because I can't imagine that that's the only situation where a just frame twister would fit in. Do you find yourself taking that risk very often and trying the just frame twister and trying to fit it in there, or do you feel like it's too risky?
Well, I do it like I guess you would call it's not randomly. I intend to do it. I do it sometimes, but the thing is, in a lot of situations, unless you need like a fast tech crouch, you can also do a 2-1-4-2. I mean 2-1-4-2-A,
Mm-hmm.
and that's gonna be that's a another that's a 13 frame attack, and it's also plus 8 on hit. So it's like wait, no, that should be 12 frames. Yeah, that's a 12 frame crouch, full crouch A,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't believe it tech crouches. So like a lot of times I do that, but the thing is, if that shit whiffs, like you probably eating some damage.
Gotcha.
That's a, yeah.
All right. Well, I mean, are there any? I mean, a lot of what you just
Like
said is pretty insightful. Are there any other like weird things that you can utilize in that matchup?
like Natsu has, like I was alluding to, she has pretty good take jumps, but most of the time, like I said, I like to use 3A.
Mhm.
So if she likes to resort to something like that and it hits, you can get stuff like 214K into a just range twister or just do a twister afterwards. So you get a lot of air combos on not just her, but anybody who tries to take jump a lot.
Back to that 2A.
Yeah.
This does everything for you, apparently.
That's another, like with her Y Rising K.
Hmm.
I mean, it's still the same thing, but you can even just frame twister that or the 2142A or just a regular AA. But I like to do 214A, like even with the dealing with the A plus B. I usually go for the just frame twister, but maybe if I'm not reacting fast enough, I'll go for the 2142A because, like I said, it's 12 frames. But and if she does the teleport and she tries to the whiff punish the miss.
Gotcha.
But just frame twister beat it regardless of if she teleports or not. So once again, it's beautiful.
Gotcha. All right. Anything else that you can add to that?
As far as that match, like really, no, she can. Nah, like don't get put at the wall. Right. Like I said, he struggles with faster characters and frame traps. So,
Hmm.
like, really, when you get put in those situations, you either going for something linear, slow, or fast and like 2A, 2K, where they can, jump attack or do all that shit.
Gotcha.
So,
Now, I did want to ask just real quick, since we mentioned 2A and 2K again, are there any other pokes that you find yourself doing a lot, like during the spacing game? Like, I know 1B, like for me, if a character has a decent 1B, I'm always using it. Is like, are there any other pokes that you find yourself using, or is it mostly just those two?
well, his single A, B, I mean, yeah, single A, B, single B, and BB. Because the single A is decently fast. Once again, people like the step, so that catch a lot of it, interrupt a lot of stuff. And it spaces a good amount, not really amazing, but a good amount on block. And then, like, the thread of, like, you doing just frame twister either cause most people to attack right away or be defensive so you can really get the movement going, or like if they attack right away or try, do whatever, you can get the just guard game going for the just guard just frame twister after whatever you just guard.
Hmm.
And the same deal with single B and BB. That's pretty linear, but he doesn't really have any super fast mid, so
Gotcha. Well,
like even
that certainly explains why you seem to like to move around a lot and play that game. I mean, if you don't have anything to poke with that's mid and fast,
yeah.
kind of hurts your ability
That's
to.
like
No, go ahead.
that was actually why I dropped him at the beginning of Soul Calibur 5 because like I said, I played Setsuka in 4 and her pokes weren't amazing, but she had a better poke game than him. And like I said, I'm a pretty safe player, so I don't like to really, throw out. I'm not throwing out heavy damage attacks just because it's like they cool attack or whatever. I'm setting stuff up with my pokes usually.
Mm,
So I had to take some time to get used to his poke game, but it's pretty decent. It's not as good as Setsuka's was, but it's decent.
gotcha.
Cause actually they slowed down. his BB. Seska's was what the hell, 15 frames, and his is 16, and it's pretty shitty on hit because it pushes them far enough away that you can't BB again in most cases. So I think they were really trying to push using like 33V and 66V.
Mm-hmm.
Or whatever.
No, that makes sense. That does remind me of something else I wanted to ask. Because you mentioned earlier, that sometimes you're going to go up against other patient players. So I did want to ask about his guard break game a little bit, because I have no idea how long it takes for some of these moves to break, and it doesn't, like, if you take 3-3B as an example, or 6-6B, it doesn't look like they're moves that would break very quickly. So is that something that you even think about? Like, do you break guard very often? It doesn't sound like you do.
I would actually go as far as to say that he has the worst gauge game in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're not really gonna, unless you actively working towards doing it, you're not really gonna break a guard just over the course of even like a match that goes down to the 5th round. You're not really gonna see the guard gauge come into play.
Mm-hmm.
Because he doesn't, like, you got stuff that specifically does guard damage, but in most cases, like I said, if you're using them with the intent that they're being blocked.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not really cool. But like like with the patient players, I think that's where he excels at. People who want to, play safe or run away or anything, because like all his best stuff spaces so well, so you can like pretty much poke at them in spaces where they can't poke at you, or they gotta like, they gotta maybe be a little more passive and maybe give you a little more room to do stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then like if they do go for like, say, a mix up, counter hit 3-3B because it's tech crouch, and that's fucking stupid. And like full crouch 3A plus B is fucking stupid. It makes people not want to throw you, but the downside is it makes you want to try to guess on high. So because you get like what, 110, 120 damage off of one whiff. That's fucking silly. What?
Well, you know what? You're not the first person to ever call his damage silly, so I'm sure you won't be the last. But back to
But I'm sorry, it's a soul game. It's almost non-existent.
Well, I guess that's not too big of a problem, because you mentioned his whiff damage is crazy high, and then you've already mentioned a couple of his grabs, and he can juggle off of his grabs. So
yeah, both grabs are fucking stupid too.
Yeah, so it's not like he can't get damage when you're turtling. So so I don't see that as a huge problem. But I was curious about that, because I don't really see Alpha Patroklos guard breaking very often, so I was curious about that. And I guess since I mentioned grabs, we can talk about that a little bit. I don't really think there's much to talk about, but might as well ask the question. He can juggle off both of his grabs. Is there anything else special to note about his grabs? Like,
really just the command grab has wall damage potential, but really, and of course the A grab wall damage ring out potential, but really they just do a shit ton of damage and have good fucking Oki. So it's stupid.
I'm glad that you said the word Oki, because that was actually going to be my next question, because we haven't really talked about his Oki yet. So not only does he get all this high damage, but you just said he gets the Oki. So what is your typical, like, game off of Oki? Like what sorts of moves or what sorts of setups are you going for?
His Ogi is pretty fucking stupid too. Cause most of the time you're gonna resort to like, cause a lot of people want to play on the ground against him, but you have full crouch 2K for the low. You have 3-3B for the mid, and you also have 1BB. And the way I use them is with like full crouch 2K. It's with the intent that either they're gonna stay on the ground or get up and block high. And then 3-3B is either they're gonna stay on ground or get up and block low. And the thing about it too is like say if a single 3-3B hits while they're on the ground, they get put in a situation where if you do 2-3-6 3B, they can't roll it. They have to pretty much get up or keep eating damage on the ground. They can't roll in any direction. So, like, I use the attacks to pretty much force them up into bigger damage stuff. That's where the 1BB would come into play, but that hits on the ground too. But like I like to do throws and 1AAA, and he has a stupid force block game. And like most of the times you hit on the ground, you can see where they tech, and you can get a guaranteed throw unless they tech and hold down to duck. And on top of that, I forgot what I was about to say. Shit. Like 3-3B, I forgot. That put with the force blocks, that puts them like right back. Say if they want to tech and then duck, if you do 3-3B into BA, the mid horizontal far range where it spins and shit, it puts them in a knockdown situation where if you see them tech again, you can do 3-3B again. And it's a force block, and if they duck, they get put right back into the same situation. So if they don't tech, you have enough time to run up into mix-up range. And if they do, it's still pretty much the same thing because they can't interrupt you. So it's pretty good.
Now, how I take it, just because of the damage that you can get off of a counter hit 3-3B, I take it that people are not challenging that very often. But I mean, do you ever run into a situation where someone is stupid enough to just keep trying to attack, like to tech roll and attack after that?
Yeah. Those are games that go that fast. Like, it's the same deal with his CE, actually. And this is a little anti-alpha pack. If you get hit by his CE, what you want to do is roll away, get up, and block. You don't want to step because it's a force block. You can't interrupt. Oh, yeah, that was what I wanted to mention. I'm sorry. A lot of his stuff, where it would hit on the ground, it puts you back turn when you hit on the ground, too. So you can't, like, your fastest attack from back turn, unless you got a fast back turn attack, it's going to be full crouch 2A, which is 17 frames, or you can do standing A or some silly shit like that, but 3-3B is still going to hit you. So, like I was saying with the CE, though, you want to do that because if you try to interrupt 3-3B at all, it's going to counter hit. You can't step and you can't interrupt it. But if you roll away, it gives you a little bit more room. You still really got to block, but you can guess on something a little bit more if you say roll away and get up and guess right away. And he can't mix you up so much as he can make you block a 3-3B. Not even make you block, but I mean, you can still step it. You just can't really interrupt it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Now that still sounds like his. I know that you mentioned earlier that his range was really good, but just the fact that you can roll away and block, and he still has the range to get you is really, really silly to me.
Well, he got to run towards you.
What's that?
pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
that's pretty
I
crazy.
would say don't challenge anything after C. Just try to get the hell out of Dodge.
Mm,
So,
gotcha.
but most people still, even a lot of top players, still try to get up and do shit, and that's just a free counter hit 3-3-V. Yeah,
Indeed.
it's terrible for them.
Gotcha. All right, that's it's funny because it seems like you said a lot there for his Oki game, but at the same time he's still only using a few moves,
Still,
which is crazy because that
that's so good.
yeah, I mean that's crazy. That's a crazy advantage for the person playing Alpha Patroklos. They like don't even have to. It's just autopilot. You don't even have to think about it. You just do it. Um,
Really, with him, the thing you worry about more than anything is them stepping your linear shit. That's probably the biggest hole in his game. I mean, he's not really fast, but he got stuff to make up for being,
mm,
not decently fast. Like even if you want to do crazy twister and shit like that. But like really the biggest thing is gonna be them sidestepping your stuff and making it whiff and punishing that. That's probably the biggest hole in this game.
gotcha. So let's say that somebody's like really hurting you with their side steps, but you happen to guess right, and you guess them on a step. What's the best punishment that you can do, or like what? I guess a better way to ask that is what if you guess somebody to step, what are you usually doing to punish that?
Really, like I said, his 3-3-V catches the one side.
Uh-huh.
He can sidestep with him in his 6-6-V, so he can still punish sidestep. He just has to guess a little bit more.
Mm,
And if you want to be more whatever about, you can always go back to 2A or 214 2K. I mean, 214 2K will actually whiff sometimes depending on like the frames at which they sidestep.
mm,
But 2A is always bananas and +8. And it's always 4K and 3K. I don't really use 3K. I use 3A more. But 4K is pretty decent. And it's a mid horizontal kick.
hmm,
But it doesn't catch completely either. So
gotcha. But he doesn't
like
have like any big anti-sidestep move like that's
he
designed
got
specifically for that.
the thing he got what the fuck is that? He got 1 AAA for close range.
Hmm.
And it's a low, so fuck. But he has a BA. It's a mid horizontal long range, but
Oh,
it's pretty slow. It tech crouches, but it's pretty slow and it's unsafe as shit on block. But like I said, I like to use 3A more because tech crouch pretty fast, and he recovers. Tech is pretty good on block, and he's tech crouch on block.
mhm.
So that makes it where they're in a situation where they pretty much gotta either mid you to hit you or guess on like a throw or some shit like that.
Interesting. Um,
And like if you step some shit, they fuck.
all right, all right, good to know. So one thing that I, just while I'm thinking about it before I forget, I did want to ask real quick about his ring out game, because I know that some of the stuff that he has rings out if you're close enough. Like Twister, I know rings out. Um,
Yeah.
but I know like his grabs, it's very situational. It's going to depend on what side you're on and all that.
Yeah.
Does he have anything that like shoots them across the screen? Like I know B Slide A sorta has that ability, but I don't think it's quite used for that purpose.
Yeah, it doesn't really because they got rid of slide ring outs.
Yeah,
It doesn't really ring out unless you like right at the edge so much. Where Twister would be better for that purpose.
gotcha. So,
So
is Twister really good at that? Because it doesn't look like it floats him very far.
it's a decent range, but not amazing. Like you saying, like really, his counter hit combos ring out far as shit. Those are some of the longest range ring outs in the game.
Gotcha. Just because it carries him so far.
Yeah, because like you go into banana shit and then ring out.
Is I guess a better question would be like, does he have like any combo variants where you'd be like, oh, okay, I'm close to the edge, I need to do this instead of my normal juggle?
Most of the time, it's just gonna involve the full crouch 3BB brave head.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, but like really, that's his longest I guess wall ring out carry. And everything else is like it's a good range, but that's his longest range one. I mean, you got the command throw for forward ring outs too, and like you said, you can ring out with the A grab.
Hmm.
Mm.
I mean, it did.
And most of the time, they'll
Oh, go ahead.
come from combos or maybe a normal hit 3-3. Yeah, come from combos
Gotcha.
most of the time. You can slide. That's another combo too, though.
Okay, cool. Yeah,
Swag
it
is 360 too.
yeah,
Like I remember.
yeah, it didn't seem like, unless you were really close to the edge, it didn't really seem like he's like a huge ring out character, but um, I didn't know if there was anything like special about it. Um, so the next thing that I wanted to ask about that we've sort of talked about a little bit is his just guarding and his GIing. Now it sounds like most of the time you don't need to GI, like he's just
No,
his.
I actually use a shit ton of me, but that's just more the way I play rather than Alpha Pet. But his GI game is pretty stupid too. Cause oh my god, like I use GI a lot because it's pretty good. But like he has 1BB for decent moderately fast option. You got Twister for a stupid fast option. You got AGB for a pretty slow option. You got Silver Moon for a slow option. But what I like to do most of the time, because like I said earlier, I go into when I go into his stances, the tech crouching ones 214 and 236, you can delay the attack you're doing. So I GI and then go into 214 and you can wait a little bit, not too long to see if they GI back, and then you can go into full crouch 3A plus B, which is like 112 damage, 112 damage combo. So a lot of times the people get confused by the 214,
Uh-huh.
and then they'll look like a feint to them, and they'll GI. But the thing is, even if they don't, the full crouch 3A plus B can fit within the GI window. And that's a shit ton of damage.
Gotcha.
So it's in your advantage to GI, honestly. Because you're going to make the meter back off the combo, too.
All right. Now to kind of piggyback off what you're talking about, you mentioned that the way that you play, you like to use GI,
Yeah.
which, can burn meter pretty fast. But just in general, because I know he has, obviously he has a couple of really, really good GIs. He has his CE, which is really good. You mentioned the full crouch 3 BB B Brave Edge. And then he has I know that he has the 2A Brave
2A
Edge. I'm trying to think of
and
what else does he have?
4-4 B plus K Brave Edge.
4-4 B plus K. There you go. So I know that his Brave Edges are really good as well. So
Honestly, they decent, but most of the time, I mean, you can use the 4-4 B plus K for punishment if you're not comfortable doing double twister. But most of the time, it's just gonna be for extra damage to me. I like his meter way more for his CE because that's like if you playing a smart player, that's like the best end game in the game because it pretty much limits most move lists to stupid proportions. Like whereas like you can like I said, I play lame already. So it's like, oh man, I'm gonna block something that's punishable and I'm gonna win basically. with that once your life gets to such and such an amount.
Interesting. All right. So I guess I don't really have much more to say about the meter management unless you have anything else. Because it sounds.
Nah, it's just like I think most of his Brave Edge is just do damage, but that CE is fucking stupid.
Yeah, that's
Especially,
pretty fast. Yeah.
and then it opens up more with the 2A, and then it makes it so your opponent, they get put in once again in that situation where they're like, oh man, is he gonna just guard and then either CE or Twister, or is he just gonna block and then CE me, or is he gonna keep attacking after say something like a 2A, because it might trip them up like, oh shit, if he, then like I said, I step a lot, so oh man, is he gonna step or do this and block, and then you punish with CE and you win. But that's why I think either most top players or most players should in general either get an idea what you want to do and do it, or play lame as fuck. It's only those 1 or 2 ways.
All right then. Well, I guess before we move on to from the meter stuff, how is his meter management in general? Does he tend to build it pretty fast?
I wouldn't say he builds it fast so much as like he doesn't really require meter, so it builds up over time, especially off like the combos and whatnot. So usually you'll get the meter when you need it,
Mm-hmm.
because you're not really gonna use it when you get it. And on top of that, if you hit like a combo, that's a shit ton of meter.
Gotcha.
And double twister is like a shit ton. It's so he builds it fast, but it's not like Patroklos or Laser fast.
All right. So, I mean, I'm like, as far as like general, stuff is concerned, I'm sort of running out of questions. I don't know if you want to go back to like the matchup stuff, because obviously there's other really popular characters as well. Like if there's any matchups that you run into a lot that you think are interesting when you play Alpha.
Let me look at this list again. I mean, most of the time he's either gonna steamroll the carry, and they gotta worry about him more than he does them. But like, really, the interesting matchups, I guess, would be, I'm looking at this list, Ivy somewhat, but not really, because you can just space her out and fuck her up. But
All right, well let's talk a little bit more about the ones, the matchups that he doesn't steamroll. You talked about Natsu a little bit. I know you mentioned Pyrrha at the start of the
yeah,
podcast.
Kira, Natsu. Mitsurugi is actually a pretty even matchup too.
Okay, well let's talk about those a little bit more. What's your game plan when you go up against Pyrrha?
Pyrrha is the fucking run away. Run far away. But you really pretty much gotta just do a tit for tat poke game with her, because she's stupid. Run away.
Okay, well I know you. I can't remember
The
exactly.
thing is though,
Go ahead.
like like any character in general, unless you playing like a reckless Pyrrha player,
Mhm.
when you got like a full bar, you got a lot of room to guess on a throw or a low, because her mids aren't really super damaged, and it's just it builds up over time, and they're super advantageous on hit.
Mhm.
So they kind of trickle into one another, but really you got room to guess, and like he takes a shit ton of damage for either one of those guesses.
So even
But
if you're kind of a little bit behind, he can make up that ground pretty quick.
yeah, he
Okay.
can make up the damage really quick off of a guess on the mix up.
Gotcha. So you just got to play lame. Play that super lame.
Yeah. Like really, but her 4-4A is like fucking stupid against them because she still has her AGI too, and it puts you in like a range where he can't step away from her to get the fuck away from her.
Mm,
so, so, and
interesting.
then like if you want to say 2A or something, like his pokes aren't fat. Her pokes are all faster than his, so. Mm.
Gotcha.
It's really in her favor. Like, frame traps, she can just frame trap them to death for the most part, and then she can play the same lame game, not to the same extent, but run away and just poke you to death. But like he can guess on silly shit like a sidestep 3-3B and stuff too. And oh yeah, her fucking step is stupid against him too. But that's more everybody, more or less.
Yeah.
That is stupid against. She's bananas, man. She's pretty good. But
Indeed.
like he shuts down like a lot of her big damage stuff too. Like 3B is double twister.
Uh-huh.
Like, she can't really throw out a main and stuff. Once he gets CE stock, 6-6A is a no go. So you can got more room to just step around, and then you can see like a lot of her stuff that catches. He only catches to one side outside of 6-6A and 4-4A.
Mm-hmm.
Or it's like say, let me think, or it's punishable.
Gotcha.
And like even the stuff that catches, like she got 3A plus B, that's gonna be fucking that can be C, but she does have 4K, which catches more than it should, and she still has 1K. But that's a pretty even match, I think.
Interesting. Okay, now what about Mitsu? You said that was an even match as well.
It's pretty much the same. Like it's
Same
gonna be
deal.
the it's like you dealing with fucking fast pokes, and the thing is, he has more. He's more linear than Pyrrha, but he has more range on his pokes, and he can actually like poke you out of a lot of shit when you're trying to make an approach. You gotta guess more on stepping to get into his range than like Pyrrha. Like it's pretty predictable. Like Mitch, he can like shut down 3-3B zoning and 6-6B. But the thing, the saving grace in that matchup is Mitch is he's not linear, but catch the one side or blah 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 the fast stuff. But he does have shit to make up for that, like 2-3-6A and 3A silliness. But and he's not really punishable. Really, the only thing you punish him from is 2KB or 3B. But while I'm at it, like almost his entire move list is punishable by double just frame twister on just guard. Even like shit like 1B, at least.
Jeez.
Yeah. So you can just guard a lot of this shit and punish him for it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I know Twister has been a nightmare for a lot of people, so I guess that's not too surprising. Um, are
The thing I'm saying, but like matchups like that, where it's a character who really has to commit to a tech crouch, not like Pyrrha where she's throwing some shit out and it's good shit that tech crouches. Like I like that. That's the way I look at it. I'm sorry, but like I like to throw out the 8A plus B because it's really good on block. If it hits, it's really good for a mix up. And if like say they throw out a tech crouch attack,
Mhm.
but it hits them while they're recovering for counter hit and their back turn, you get a free combo until 2-3-6-3B into a shit ton of damage.
Yeah, he just never ceases to be able to get damage. That's for sure. And yeah, just for those listening, I don't plan on going over the actual juggles,
Yeah,
because not only are a couple of them in the move list, but you can find that stuff in the forums, and they're pretty straightforward. It just takes
yeah.
practice, so to actually be able to get to the hang of them.
Mm.
Well, unless there were any other like matchups that you thought were interesting or anything, I have for the most part run out of questions. uh, uh,
Yeah, I like it. It's Tira also, but it's pretty much the same stuff, except she has a shit ton of tech
mhm.
jumps. So, but
Well, yeah, and
it's
if you're
pretty
doing
much.
2As all the time, I can imagine that has
Yeah.
a problem. But cool. Well, was there anything that not even just matchup, but like anything that we haven't discussed that you think is important to know? Or
Uh, his wall damage is bananas, but that's more damage,
yeah,
I guess.
that just fits into the theme that
And
we've been talking about.
for people bitching, I guess he beats Viola. If it was one character, I'd say he's the only character I can say honestly beats Viola.
Just
But
right.
maybe that's because it's the way I feel about Viola. And but I'm not gonna lose to an Alpha Pat, but most Violas should lose to an Alpha
I like how you say that. I'm not gonna lose to it.
Pat. I'm not
Yeah,
gonna
but
lose.
I mean, most people probably will. Funny. So, so I know that we started off the conversation. You said that it's just kind of a whim whenever you play him. Uh, is like the last. I'm trying to think of what's the most recent tournament that you played him and won.
It was NEC.
NEC. Okay, yeah, yeah. Okay. I knew there was something that was semi recent.
I played him at a couple
Yeah.
tournaments, but
Now, is
it
that
was,
let, just out of curiosity, let's say that there was a big tournament, like I know Final Round, for instance, is coming up, and let's say like one of the big like French players or somebody from Japan, like Dekupon was to come over. Would you
yeah.
play Alpha? Like even if let's say I came up to you, I was like, hey man, I want to see your Alpha. Play Alpha against Dekupon. Would you play Alpha, or would you be like, nah, dude, I'm playing Viola?
Well, there's two things to that. Dekapon kind of styled on my boy Woes,
Mhm.
so I would play Alpha for that, for because of that. And Dekapon, from what I've seen, he kind of loses to Viola, so I don't want so much an easy win. So I would play both of them, but sure, I'll play Alpha versus him.
Gotcha. So you would play Viola just to style, huh? Be like, yeah, I can beat him.
Yeah, from what I've seen, he's kind of not too good against Viola.
Oh, okay. Never mind. I got that fucked up. You would play Alpha to show people that you can beat him without.
Yeah, like Wolves when he played after I don't know, Evo like 2 years ago. I don't fucking know. He was like he pretty much even though it's first to two and janky as shit.
Mhm.
I guess he pretty much felt like he couldn't do anything, and like that's like it's a wonky matchup, but not for the reasons Wolves lost. He should have been able to win that.
Mm,
Like, mm, but whatever.
gotcha. Now
So yeah, I would play him.
you
Yeah, fuck him up.
you roll with them. Nice. Now, are you planning to go to any big tournaments like Final Round here coming up? Any plans?
I wish, but I'm probably not gonna be able to make it,
Gotcha. Now, and
bro.
if they have it, I doubt they'll have it. I mean, they haven't released the Evo list yet. It'll probably, I would guess, end up being like last year where Evo won't have it, but someone will probably hold a side tournament or
Uh,
something. Um,
it's gonna be at UFGT and tournament in North Carolina in October. I'm gonna make both of those for sure, but.
so I like how you
uh,
just say that. A random tournament in North Carolina, you don't even know what it is.
I forgot the name of it, but I just like North Carolina. That's all.
All right, gotcha. Yes, UFGT. That's May something usually, or it's usually in May, I
Yeah, I
think.
don't know. They just announced it yesterday.
Yeah.
It wasn't on the lineup before, so I didn't even pay attention.
Oh, it wasn't.
I don't really just pay attention now because I'm from Chicago.
I'm gonna pull this up because I usually go to UFGT as well. Since they started doing it in Chicago, I've gone every year. Let's see. Yep. Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, you're right. Just yesterday. Soul Calibur 5 announced, so they will have it. I haven't really even looked at this at all. I should probably do that, figure that out. But yeah, I know I remember saw you last year there. I think you won it last year too, right? I
One
believe.
that every year Soul Calibur 5 has been there.
Yeah, so so I know that we can expect good things. Well, sir,
Yeah, out there, fuck it.
well, with that, being said, that's about all that I have for this episode. So, of course, I like to give my guests the little last section. So, we won't do a rant since I've already had you do that before. But if you have, I don't know if you have anything to promote or if you have any shout outs, pretty much anything that you want to talk about or get out there, the mic is yours.
I mean, I guess two things. Pretty much, final round is looking like it's gonna be the shit as far as Soul Calibur goes.
Hmm.
Like, I probably won't be able to make it, but a lot of really good people, and a lot of people, period, good people, even if they're not good at the game, are coming out. So it should be a really good experience. Everybody should tune in if you can't make it, but it's looking like it's gonna be fucking amazing. And I guess shout outs to everybody. I love everybody. So
Everybody, hello.
I guess special shout out to fucking Great One. and,
Everybody shouts him out.
yeah,
Like,
oh my god. Start crying and shit. Oh, shout outs. But no, special shout outs to Great One. He really, I don't know. A lot of people help to make the community. I guess he's one of them.
mhm.
Well, of course, he's one of them to me, but like, yeah.
That's it. Everyone in Great One. That's
I mean, everyone. Special shout out to Great One in my book.
cool.
I,
Anything else? That it?
that's pretty much it for me.
All right. Well, that's a.
Hey,
Oh,
could tell. Like, apparently, nah, I won't say anything. Well, no, fuck that. Some people gonna hate. Apparently, I got put in the Guinness Book World Record Gamer Edition 2014 for Soul Calibur 5.
for what was your record? Or like what
I
was
don't
the?
fucking know. I haven't seen it.
Okay, okay. We're gonna Google this because I have to know. World.
You got. I think you got to buy the book.
Is
Because
it?
I'm Googling it too.
So it has. Wait. Okay, so I have to figure this out. So Guinness Book of World Records, they have a
Gamer.
gamer edition. I didn't
I
even
didn't
know
know.
such a. Yeah, I didn't.
Yes.
That's so. Who told you?
Tell me that.
Yeah, who told you this? Who?
Fenris, Kyle, Fenris Zero. He just let me know. Apparently, like his cousin or nephew bought it and showed him or something.
Weird. That's okay.
That's pretty funny.
Okay, so I
What's even funnier is you don't even get paid for that shit. I
no,
was
yeah,
hoping
they just
I
put you in there.
like,
You should give them a call and be like, hey, you guys should sponsor me to go to these tournaments.
yeah, get LP in this bitch.
Hey, how I've never heard of Guinness sponsoring any gamers, so they might have a little bit of a budget for it. It's worth a call. You never
Like
know.
a couple days.
But I actually, when it comes to that stuff,
Oh shit! Wait, Thuggish Pun just posted a final round thread. What do you say? What the fuck? He didn't even say anything.
oh, that's sad that I can't I just tried to Google it and I couldn't find anything. So, man, we'll have to figure out what that is. We'll have to figure out why you're in that book so that we can shout that out. But otherwise, that's all that I got, man. So if you're good on your shout outs and everything, we will put an end to this this episode and of course the SoulCast for the time being. Like I said, thank you everybody for hanging with us and listening to these episodes. And like I mentioned at the beginning, I don't have any plans to do anything else for the time being. So until the next Caliber, the actual fighting game Caliber comes out, probably won't hear much from me unless magically I run into something that's really awesome that I that I feel the need to put out. But other than that, thank you again, Lost Providence, for coming on and helping out as a guest. And that's all I got, guys. So thanks for listening, and we'll catch you for the next Caliber later.